Getting close doesn't count. We got to close these games out. That's how we keep the support. We keep it loud. We keep them coming.
Teams look at us, they look at the Lions, they look at the history, and they know that they're just going to roll us.
You got to win games, especially against a team. Ain't nothing special about the Washington Commanders.
You know what? Go beat freaking Minnesota too. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings like they're the friggin' Buffalo Bills.
When I was just coming out in the NFL, I love this marketing agent. Guy was fun. Guy was funny. He was a great dude, but he didn't know what the F he was doing.
Getting close doesn't count. Getting close doesn't count. We got to close these games out, and that's how we keep the support. We keep it loud. We keep them coming. I mean, that's ultimately what we have to do.
Winning will keep the fans there, but I'll add a caveat to this. Winning early will keep the fans going to Ford Field.
Yeah.
You can't start off 1-5.
No.
You can't start off 0-3. Hell, you can't start off 1-4. I mean, you have got to start winning football games. And I think, and I've said it before, and I'm not going to back off of this, this is an absolute must-win game. Maybe not in terms of the season, but certainly in terms of fan interest. And I do think having an atmosphere at Ford Field, having a belief in your team is something that they want down at Ford Field. And I also think for these players, look, Amon Ross St. Brown talked about it, Braylon. He talked about, being a favorite for the first time in 24 games. And he's like, look, we're an underdog every time we play because of our history. Teams look at us, they look at the Lions, they look at the history, and they know or they think that they're just going to roll us. And because of that, you do want to believe that is that's dead. But the only way you can do that is if you win.
The Lions haven't had a coach that they could connect to since Wayne Fontes, whether it was Marty Mornhinweg, whether it was Jim Schwartz, whether it was Mooch, whether it was Jim Caldwell. Don't get me started on that one. And we damn sure know the Patricia era and what it was. They were over the Detroit Lions. They bring in this guy, Dan Campbell. Everybody's like, oh, my God, who the hell is he? He's talking about knee slappers and pike coffee and espresso. But then they fell in love with Dan Campbell along the way. Then they fell in love with the message that he had. Then they fell in love with the identity that he was building. They fell in love with that last year. The off-season, they loved the Detroit Lions. They drank all the Kool-Aid because they believe in them, rightfully so. With all that being said, now you got to produce. I had a marketing agent when I was just coming out in the NFL. I love this marketing agent. The guy was fun. Guy was funny. He was a good guy. He was from Ohio, which made it even better. Me being in Cleveland, because I didn't know stuff about Cleveland. He was a great dude, but he didn't know what the F he was doing. I had to let him go. It's the same thing with Dan Campbell, these players. You want to love them. You do love them. But if they can't get to the bottom line, which is winning, hey, Dan, we love you, but we got to let you go. Hey, Dan, we love you, but you know what? We can't cheer for a team that can't win. They're in a good position where you got some players that are making plays. You got high-graded draft. You have high-graded players in Panay Sewell and DeAndre Swift. The other side of the ball, Malcolm Rodriguez in 49 plays. He graded out the fifth best lineman, the fifth best rookie. He's got some things going, but you got to win games, especially against a team. Ain't nothing special about the Washington Commanders. There's nothing special. They got some good players. Jahan Dotson. They got that same guy, Carson Wentz, that the Indianapolis Colts didn't want last year. Chase Young, Mr. Ohio State. He's not playing this game. You don't have to worry about that. Their running game didn't get going. On the opposite side, Jacksonville Jaguars, they ran the ball against the Washington Commanders. They threw the ball. Trevor Lawrence had 275 yards passing. This is a team that you can, and to be honest, you should beat at home. Got to win this game.
1-1 is better than 0-2. I know that sounds very simple. Of course it is. But when you're going into your first road game against the Minnesota Vikings, you do not want to go there 0-2. You've got to have this win. You're absolutely right.
And you know what? Go beat freaking Minnesota, too. Seriously. But again,
relax.
I got him splitting, but not this one.
Wait a minute. I understand that.
Pipe down.
I understand that. But we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings like they're the friggin' Buffalo Bills. This league is built for you to go win games against teams you shouldn't beat. I mean, I saw it happen 4 times last week where teams with far less talent than the team they beat.
Name those
Chicago.
Teams. Who Chicago beat?
San Francisco.
Same team you told me that game doesn't count because it was in a monsoon?
Well,
try again.
It counts in the record books.
It does, but
what about the Houston Texans?
Okay, the Colts.
That Colts are a playoff team. I think many people expect the Colts to be a division winner.
I'll give you one. That's one. That's one I'll give you.
I think Pittsburgh is not as talented as Cincinnati.
Pittsburgh defense is amazing. It has a chance to be super special. And on offense, they got one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Najee Harris. And they got a quarterback. They said, look, just don't lose the game for us.
Cincinnati, to me, they're the defending AFC champions. They lost at home to a team quarterbacked by Mitchell Trubisky.
But they also only had 9 wins in the playoffs last year. They only had, 10, excuse me. They snuck into the playoffs. It's not like the Cincinnati Bengals walked into the playoffs 13-4 or 14-3. They snuck in the playoffs. Don't forget that. The only thing I'm saying about the Minnesota Vikings as it relates to
and then the Giants on the road at the Titans. I knew there was a 4th one.
Yeah, the Titans suck too.
But I'm just telling you, these are teams that sucked.
I watched that game last
night. None of those teams are the Minnesota Vikings. None of those teams. Kevin O'Connell. What did I tell you Kevin O'Connell was going to bring over from the Rams? We talked about. You see how open Justin Jefferson was? No, that wasn't on accident. That's not just because Justin Jefferson is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. That's because of what Kevin O'Connell brought over. Everybody's wondering, how did Cooper Kupp be so wide open? How was Cooper Kupp at 1,900 yards? Robert Woods got hurt. Odell Beckham got hurt. That's because Kevin O'Connell got him open. Justin Jefferson was wide open. Look at the defensive side. You know who Green Bay misses? Maybe even more than Devontae Adams. It's a young man by the name of Zadarius Smith, always in the backfield in the game yesterday. That Minnesota team is damn good, and you'll find out when we do Braylon's Top 10.
I will tell you this, and I understand they're a very good team. But as I look at the Lions' schedule, I have pointed to the fact that they will lose to the Buffalo Bills. That is a guaranteed loss. Yeah. You might as well not even show up to the game. Although I did buy tickets to that game. I'm taking my family there on Thanksgiving.
Check you out.
That's something new for you.
Yeah, it is.
Congrats.
It
Welcome.
Is. Thank you. But again, I just don't consider Minnesota like the Bills. So, anywho,
yeah,
that's where I'm going with that.
And you should.